Hi, I'm Laura Strong and I'm Head of Geography here at Hills Road Sixth Form College. I'm delighted that you're interested in studying geography further, and even more so that you're considering Hills Road as your provider of choice. Okay, so let me take you through a few slides to give you an overview into the discipline. So over the next few slides, I hope to give you an overview as to why I think you should be studying geography, and also the skills that you will gain from taking geography at A level. So geography is a very relevant subject. Without it, we can't hope to explain the world around us, as almost everything has a geographical dimension. So it's a very current, relevant subject. One of my favourite quotes about the discipline comes from the professor of geography at Oxford University called Danny Dorling. And he writes that geography is about the energy that builds and destroys mountains, as well as that energy that drives our weather and climate. So some of these big processes that power our planet are what we focus on in geography. But that becomes even more complex whenever we consider that people also interact with the physical environment. So we have this dual aspect of our discipline. So the two branches of physical and human geography. This diversity is reflected throughout our curriculum. So we study OCR at A level, and there are really 4 components to the A level course. So the first is paper 1, and that's where we study our physical geography. We look at coastal landscapes for one module, and in particular, there's a deep focus on the coastline of North Norfolk, the historical factors that have influenced its formation, and in particular, processes that currently modify it today. We also study Earth life support systems, which is very focused on the carbon and water cycles at global level. So climate change really comes in to this module as well. Paper 2, also worth 22% of the A level. This is a human geography paper. And here we look through changing spaces at urban geography, and we think about how the identity of urban environments has changed through time and why. And also there's a big focus on how people actually interact with urban environments and how that might differ between individual people. So there's a little bit of that individual level study might deviate a little bit from what you've looked at GCSE to make the A-level geography exciting and fresh. We study global migration, so here we look at flows of people between and within continental areas, and we study some of the inequalities that are actually involved with that too. And finally, we have a unit known as Power and Borders. This is really where we study geopolitics. We look at issues of sovereignty for countries, territorial integrity, and how conflict can arise and potentially be resolved as a result of these ideas. Paper 3 is where the physical and human geography really intersects. So the two topics that we explore are oceans and earth hazards. So with oceans, the first part of the module absolutely is about building our understanding of some geophysical processes. So we look at what does the ocean basin actually look like under the sea floor? How do global oceanic currents form? That type of aspect is what we start with, but then we move on to consider how do we use our oceans today? What are some of the issues regarding pollution, whether that's plastic or oil spills? Are the biological and non-biological resources that we find within the oceans, are they being responsibly used? We look at issues of territory within oceans as well. Is there conflict between or different nation states that are vying for control of different parts of seas and oceans? What laws govern our use of ocean environments? So it's a new module for many students and one that I think that you might greatly enjoy. Then we have our classic geography topic called Hazardous Earth, where we look at plate tectonics, the formation of volcanoes and earthquakes, and then, of course, How do people actually live with these hazards? Does that vary by location and a country's development status? So those are the 3 exam papers, and the latter one that I just talked through with oceans and hazards, that's worth 36% of the A level, so it's the highest weighted component of the A level. And finally, we have the coursework element, which is known as the independent investigation. And this is where you will be able to explore a topic of interest in more detail. So it will be a mini research project where you gather data and you write it up. What did you find? How does this relate to what has previously been written about this aspect of geography? So it's worth 20% of the A level, and it is an opportunity for you to showcase your skills as a researcher. So given that I've just discussed the breadth of the subject, students are going to gain a wide variety of skills. So we have this aspect of the discipline, the quantitative, so students will be developing numeracy. You're going to be very comfortable with interrogating numerical data, but equally you'll be writing reports and essays, so you're going to build your qualitative skills as well. Okay, so you'll be well grounded in both of those. But we have some unique aspects to our discipline too. So geographers are involved very heavily in the creation and the interpretation of mapped data. So if you have a look at this resource on the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see that many of these maps appear in press publications and in government reports today. If you choose to study geography, you will learn how to create these. So that's a unique aspect to geography. Moreover, you will also have the opportunity to develop some practical skills. So you'll see in the photograph students at the beach in North Norfolk measuring the profile using leveling equipment and also gathering some data about sediment size. So if you like getting hands-on, geography could be the right choice for you. So this does involve going out into the field, and we do run a variety of field trips within the department. We have the compulsory element, so you need to complete 4 days as a requirement to pass the A-level course. This is typically achieved through 3 days at North Norfolk, plus a day of your own field work for your coursework investigation. So you'll see people or students in the image, they're about to draw a field sketch of the cliff profile behind them after being briefed, and they're going to do a little bit of investigative work about the geology present as well. On the right-hand side, students and staff are standing on the slopes of Mount Etna in Sicily. So we do run optional field trips as well. And in the past, we have been to Iceland and China too. So there's a wide range of activities for students to get involved with within the department, but it's a key priority for us to provide students with appropriate level support. And we think of this in 2 ways. We consider the support that we provide in class and outside of class for students. So we work hard to create a carefully sequenced curriculum. So what do I mean by this? Well, really, much thought goes into the order in which we teach topics. So for instance, we start the autumn term with coastal landscapes and changing places. These are likely to be topics that students will be more familiar with from study at GCSE. So it just helps to make that transition to A-level perhaps a little bit more comfortable. Equally, within those modules, we will also help to build students' skills at using ArcGIS, the mapping software, and expose them to some research techniques. And this will help them when it comes to tackling the coursework element or the independent investigation. We also have study packs created for each module. So the whole curriculum is very well resourced and carefully planned, so students can have confidence that they have the best materials possible when studying here at Hills Road. And finally, within class, we also have a big focus on application of knowledge. So yes, We're learning the geography, but we also have this exam at the end of the 2 years, so we need to be comfortable with applying our knowledge to the exam style questions. So we do this regularly in class to support students too. Outside of class, there are drop-in sessions where students can come to receive extra tuition on aspects that they're studying or to ask questions about parts of the course they might find a little bit more challenging. We also have a lot of subscriptions to subject support bodies like the Geographical Association and the RGS. So here students can find additional topic information and many extension resources as well if they would like to pursue their learning even further. And we do have an open door policy within geography, so if students are experiencing difficulties or if they're confused about any aspect of the course, we can arrange one-on-one support where that is needed. Assessment. Throughout the 2 years at Hills, we have a programme of assessment to help build students' confidence towards the external exam. As a general rule, we often have about one piece of teacher assessed work each half term. That would be a minimum. But you can see here that I've put on the slide details of assessments that students can expect in the autumn term when they start in year 12. So we have 2 modules ongoing then, coastal landscapes and changing places. For each, there will be 2 teacher assessed questions and an end of topic test. What we do in terms of assessment within the department also feeds into whole college level assessment, where we have a summer exam in year 12 and also a mock within year 13 too. And this gives students an opportunity to kind of practice exam writing in conditions that closely replicate what they will have during the external exam series. So a very useful opportunity for students to have within the college. So this is really what I've talked through so far are assessments where teachers are kind of marking and assessing in that very traditional way. But we also have a program of peer and self-assessment within lessons to also build students' confidence at being able to reflect on their own work and be able to interpret exam board mark schemes too. So the exams are important, there's no getting away from that, but we know that there is much more to learning than the external exam series. As such, we provide many opportunities for students to get involved with the subject through other avenues. For instance, we have a comprehensive programme of external speakers that visit the college, either directly or through online platforms. So to give you a few examples, in the past we've had researchers from the University of Cambridge come in to give talks about their work looking at the geopolitical tensions between Russia and the Ukraine. We've also had volcanologists visit discussing their research on the slopes of Hawaiian volcanoes. So it's a very diverse program of external speakers. We have the fieldwork that I've already spoken about, a wide range of student competitions that they can get involved with. So for instance, the Young Geographer of the Year provides a great opportunity for you to showcase your proficiency with ArcGIS, creating a story map about a particular topic that they set in a year. And finally, a unique opportunity within geography is to have some of your work published in Roots Journal. So really, people often publish peer-reviewed work perhaps once they've done undergraduate study, if they're doing a postgraduate or beyond. But this provides an opportunity for sixth formers and undergraduate students to get recognition and feedback on some of the early work or research that they have conducted themselves. So it's a really great opportunity for students to get involved with and get feedback from professional geographers within the field. Considering our exam performance here too, you'll see that Geography Department at Hills Road compares very favourably to the national picture. So 58% of students nationally achieve A star to B, whereas at Hills Road, this is 75%. Excuse me. So this is some of the evidence that we do prepare our students very thoroughly for the external examinations. Then finally, to consider, well, what do students actually do once they've completed their geography studies with us here at Hills? Well, the vast majority, 91%, go on to higher education, with smaller percentages entering employment and apprenticeships. So you can see that the most commonly taken subjects are listed on the right-hand side. So around 20% of students studying geography at Hills Road will go on to study it at university. Some of our frequently attended universities are Leeds, Bristol and Nottingham, but every year we also have students that go on to study at Oxbridge and Durham as well. I hope that you have found that interesting. If you do have other questions, please do feel free to get in touch with the college. Thank you.